exactly what it is. So I'm going to try this. Very nice. And I got some vegetables. And I got a dip. So, get into this. It's a nice ranch dressing. And a grapefruit bubbly. So, the town I live in by itself is kind of bland. It definitely needs this peanut sauce. I was trying to say the town I live in, where I bought my first house. Is an older area. And that area is where the town originated. It's a mining town, and that's where the town originated. So, in that particular area, it's called Hawood. I bought my first house there. I lived in that house for 23 years, and I lived in that area in different houses, but I rented and that sort of thing for, I guess all total, I lived in that area for at least 25 years or longer. This is very good, but without the peanut sauce, it's very boring. So, I lived in that area for at least 25 years. And what I liked about that area, it's the oldest area in town. Like I said, that's where the town started. It's full of very old trees, very stately, elm trees, oak trees, fir trees, fruit trees. Just lots of trees and very old. It's an old area, old houses, and back alleys. Back alleys are not something that you see a lot of times in a newer development. This area where I record my videos is called Downside. This is also another older area as well. And there's a lot of mining in this area too. Years ago, coal mining. And there's some back alleys here too, but not as many as Hawood. Now, when I lived in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, say that fast 150 times. I'll make sure I don't dribble. When I lived in Saskatoon, the whole city, for the most part, was a whole network of back alleys. Maybe some of the newer areas didn't have it, but pretty much every inch of that city that I remember had back alleys. Now, what made it interesting Saskatoon's a beautiful city. And I lived there from 62 to 74. A beautiful city, lots of back alleys. And nobody had garbage cans out front. They were always in the back alley. So you would see the garbage trucks go down the alleys. The alleys were very well used, for servicing, shortcuts, just whatever. But the alleys were for picking up garbage for one. And back in those days, they had a garbage truck, one driver, and two men, one on each side. They'd stand on the back of the truck and ride along. Hop off, grab the cans, dump them in, put them back. Keep going. They were city workers, quite well paid. But you never saw garbage out front, ever. And it was cool because everybody, including my dad, everybody would build like nice little platforms for their garbage cans. Most people did. Most people had fences. And some people had little, like an alcove type thing. They put their garbage cans in there behind the fence. And had like a little sort of, roof type thing. So put your garbage can out, put it back in. And they'd stay dry and that kind of stuff. They were off the ground. Very accessible. They're also great hiding places. When you're playing hide and seek with your friends when you're small, right? Now, my friend Richard and I, we always used the back alleys. I used to walk to school. Sometimes there'd be a short back alley connecting one crescent to the next crescent. Or next street, one street to the next street. But taking the back alley was a shortcut because it was kind of like as the crow flies, If I wanted to go down to the candy store, if I walked around, it could take me, I can't remember how fast I walked as a kid, but let's say it took, we'll say 20 minutes. Going down the back alley took 5, So much shorter. And the back alley's a great place to ride your bicycle, you're away from traffic. Now my friend Richard kind of lived on the other side of the crescent. When he stepped out his back gate, he was in the back alley, like everybody else was when they stepped out their back gate. And he would just turn right, go straight down the store. He was there in a few minutes. Great. Now this one family, they lived a few houses down from him. They had a real skookum type place that they built for the garbage cans. And we used to sit in there all the time, kind of hiding. There was kind of like our little fort, we'd smoke cigarettes back there, whatever. That's just kind of our thing. The funny thing about back alleys, and they were very popular, very well used, but you always felt you were invisible when you're going down a back alley. So when some of us got a bit older, we wanted to smoke cigarettes, or there'd be like 6 of us sharing a couple of bottles of beer or something. We'd sneak down the back alleys thinking that no one saw us and we're totally invisible. But the truth is, when people walk down a back alley, it probably attracts more attention than when they're going down the street. So if Mrs. Jones is standing at her sink, washing dishes, looking out in her backyard, she sees people going down the back alley. She's probably going to watch them more than she would somebody walking down the street. Avocado, carrot, cucumber. I expected some kind of seafood in here. I almost bought some sushi, some California rolls and stuff. They always have some that are, $1 off of the till. If you check the date, it means it's expiring this afternoon or tomorrow, and I don't want to buy those, so I look at the fresh ones, which are a bit more pricey. Definitely worth it, but I never had these before, so I wanted to try them. But back alleys, like I said, you always felt like no one could see you when you're going down the back alley, but the truth is I think it was quite the opposite. But the whole back alley system in Saskatoon, for instance, was a real network, a whole total network, like a real maze. And like I said, I used to back alleys more on the streets because they were shorter, less traffic, more interesting, The streets, you always had to watch for cars, and now at the back alleys are always gravel or dirt. I remember one time there was a short back alley that they had used to connect a couple of different streets, a couple of crescents, and that's one they used to use for going to school. And they had blocked it off the traffic by putting a couple of cement posts there. And it was quite narrow anyways, but they made it just a walkway and they paved it. And I thought that was so cool because I'd never seen a paved alley before. My mom gave me this little ship. She bought that. Well, I'm not even sure when, but she had it since I remember, and I'm in my 60s. She probably bought that in the 50s or something. It's got like an older style cord, I would never leave this plugged in unattended, but it's got a little light in there. It gets very hot. I can feel the heat. Oh yeah, that's warm. I'm gonna look into getting a different type of bulb, preferably a colored bulb. But that gets really, really toasty. I mean, I can't hold my fingers on it for more than a second. Seriously. If the lights were off, you'd be able to see it more. I think you might be able to see the reflection on the table there. But anyways, she gave that to me because she's she'll be 98 in May, and she wants to start getting rid of some of her stuff. Finally, used to see her garage. Oh my gosh. Anyways, that's another video. But as I was saying, that was the first back alley I ever saw that was paved. And it was just more of a connector. But I used it every day coming and going to school. always be plowed and graded, but they never touched the back alleys. Not that I ever saw. I'd like to try one of these with some seafood or something in it, and something that has some, like a bite, you know, like a real, some heat or something, you know. Like I said, just lettuce and cucumber and, you know, avocado and whatever, carrot. I have to admit, it tastes very healthy. What do you think of my elephant? I bought that, well, maybe 12 years ago. I don't know why. At the time, I mean, I love elephants, but at the time, I just saw it and I thought it looked kind of cool. It was one of those stores where I missed out the price on the bottom, I'm not sure. Okay. $3.99. Now, I guess I just thought the price was right and it looked kind of cool, so I bought it. It was a store called Winners, I think. Yeah, that's where I bought it years ago. Probably around 2011, I think. But the town I live in now, like I said, this area has some back alleys. But the area that I bought my house in, my first house, had back alleys everywhere. When we moved to an area with no back alleys, none. Now the area I lived in, where I bought my first house, Hawood. I guess at one time it was had a lot more wood and a lot more rabbits, I guess. But you know what? I can unplug this. I can smell it. Seriously, I could smell that bulb. It's getting hot. It's even warm right here. And the bulb was back there. I would never leave that unattended, like I said. So, and before I get off track here, I mentioned rabbits. I did a video recently where I showed some pictures of some baby rabbits. Well, a viewer in my Easter video mentioned something about that. So we just discovered 6 more. I was wrong, it was 8 more. There's 8 more babies. And those babies you saw in the video, are already flown the coop. There's no end to it. Getting back to what I was talking about. So the area that I bought my house in called Hawood. When my kids were little, I bought a nice mountain bike. And I put those baby seats on the back. This was probably around 88 I bought that. And I take my kids one at a time, take them for bike rides. And I loved using the back alleys because, like I said, no traffic, so much safer, more interesting. And the ride was sometimes kind of bumpy, and kids like that. So I used the back alleys a lot for that. Like quite often when I'm here at my condo, I'll be editing a video or something. I want to go out and stretch my legs. So I'll go for a walk and end up going down a back alley somewhere and just another back alley. Like I said, there's not as many around here as there was in my older area. Then just getting ready to plant peas. Usually gets 2 crops per season. But it's kind of funny. Because when we were teenagers, like I said, Wes thought we were invisible going down the back alley, and we'd, it would be, we'd blaze a doobie, and, we'd be skulking around, and, The only drawback to back alleys, really, was people had access to your backyard, and at nighttime, that sort of thing, they could go undetected. We had some bicycles stolen out of our backyard the first year we moved to Saskatoon. I remember one time when I was living in the old house in the old neighborhood, I woke up in the middle of the night about maybe 1:30 or 2. I hear this clunk, clunk, clunk. I thought, what is that? Got up and looked out the window. I could hear this noise, like clunk. I grabbed my flashlight, went down there, started going to the back gate. All of a sudden I hear this guy get in his car, his truck, and just take off. One of my neighbors had his firewood behind his shed at the back alley. And this jerk pulled up with this pickup truck, was just loading up. Couldn't even go out and get his own firewood. If you want a wood stove, you cut your own wood or pay for it, whatever. So that's the drawback, is it allowed people access, like back alley access to your yard. And sometimes people would, I remember one time I had my tent set up and some kids took all the tent poles and busted them and bent them and whatever. That kind of nonsense. Now I remember, as completely shattered. And that's what back alleys did, was they allowed you access. But for the most part, back alleys are cool. I remember one time, once again, the old house in the old neighborhood. My ex, I had her bedroom upstairs in the attic. It was a 3-story house. It was during the summer. And we had like a window right there. And all of a sudden, you hear this splat. Some of the neighborhood kids, I knew who they were. They were going down throwing eggs at people's houses. I knew who the little kid was. He grew up and turned out to be a nice guy, but he was such a brat. Somebody's mother was missing a dozen eggs. It's still warm. That's a real fire hazard, that thing. Even if I had an on and off switch, I'm not sure if I do. I've never really looked that closely to see if there's an on and off switch, but even if I did, I would never leave it plugged in, even in the off position. That's the cord. Up until a couple years ago, Linda had a toaster that she got when her grandparents died. It still had that cloth, the insulation, like not. It had that cloth, that black and white kind of cloth that goes over there. You always see them on old waffle irons or something. It still had that. We would never leave that thing plugged in, only when we used it. I didn't trust it. But back alleys when we were kids, I made a video about this before. You know, the things we used to do as kids, we used to play war. Have our toy guns, and, Mom's Tupperware for a helmet or something, And we used to back alleys exclusively for that. So much fun. Hope these carrots aren't too noisy. I'll chew over here. So getting back to those rabbits at the house, they've been digging burrows. I guess that's where they like to have their babies. But I know they must have had some under the tool shed, because that's where I saw that other batch. I took some video of that. Here's a question. When you go to Best Buy or something, and you see those things for your iPhone, and people have them sitting on their dash, they have their iPhone right there, and they put it on speaker and just talk. I'd like to get something like that where I could turn it around and use it as a webcam just to make videos. I mean, kind that I should buy, or if that would work, let me know. My dash is very flat, easy to stick something on there. I might be a bit concerned about glare, but I could just do my best to clean that part of the windshield off and try not to drive into the sun. Such a beautiful, gorgeous day out today. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but we changed the sand in the swimming pool pump, or filter, I should say. That's the first time we've ever done that. I think I mentioned that before. So I'm looking forward to taking the cover off the pool and trying it out. Because last year was so bad. When you turned it on, if you were vacuuming in the pool, you could see it coming right back into the pool. It wasn't being filtered at all. And when we took that sand out, the old stuff, it was just caked in there. I'm not gonna eat that one, it's kind of peaked looking. That Thai thing that I ate was quite tasty. You know, or sorry, it was good, but it needed a bit more pizzazz, but it really wasn't that bad. I meant to say it tasted healthy. I felt like I was eating something very healthy when I was eating it. But some seafood in there, or anything, maybe some kind of a sauce in there to, like a little bit of wasabi or something, just to give it some bite. I haven't had a bubbly in a while. I'm sure you've noticed. I'll see if I can get a colored light for that. Green would be nice, you know. But back alleys, like I said, in Saskatoon, such a network. Got my paper out. When I finished doing my papers, I just walked down the alley. It was so much faster. Total shortcut all the way home. thought that was a very healthy meal I had. By the way, I owe you people an apology. I meant to say this at the beginning, I forgot. I recently had some videos where I had some buzzing, some static and buzzing. Couldn't figure out what it was. I thought it was my phone. So I stopped using my phone and I thought, well, maybe it's where I plugged it in. And then I made a video for dry treats and I noticed, and I used my camera, my Logitech C920 webcam. And it was doing it then. And I thought, well, something's wrong, so it's not the phone. And I kept thinking it must be an input. It turned out it was the output, my headphone jack, not where it plugs in here. But where it plugs in down there, what I had was the cord that ran from here, which is about 6 feet long, that I plugged my headphones into it. Well, the female end was kind of sketchy. So when I plug my headphones in, a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times when I can hear anything, I have to go like this, and then I think, well, okay, now I can hear. And usually it was just fine, and I would just leave it. But, you know, after years and years of doing that, of course, it kind of wears out. So I found out that was the culprit, but the reason I didn't suspect that was because it's an outline. It's a signal going out, and I didn't think that would be an issue. You know, I was concerned more about a signal coming in that would cause that static, but I guess it caused interference, and so I've replaced that cord. And actually, I made a video recently where I unplugged it. You can see where it's unplugged up top here. And like I said, it wasn't plugging in here. That was the problem. It was down there, but I just wanted to make sure. So I unplugged it up there. But anyways, problem solved. And like I said, you people deserve, you know, my best. Nobody wants to listen to ASMR. We got that static in the background. You know, it's very distracting, very annoying. And normally I would do the video over. If I had done this video and it was like that, I would just do it over. But with the dry treats, I couldn't, because they send you that one box and that's it, you know. And by the time you realize that you've screwed up, it's too late. So I just had to post it anyway. So my apologies. You know, you people are the best. I couldn't ask for better viewers and subscribers than you people. You know, you really cut me a lot of slack, and I appreciate that. But by the same token, you also call me out on it, and I appreciate that too, and I hope that you always do. So anyways, thanks very much for your patience and you know, and your support. Wow, I think I might go for a walk. It's a beautiful day out there. I have these big black curtains that I shut very thick, and I do that to try and kind of keep the sound down a little bit. But anyways, I might go for a little walk. So you take care. You want to shout out, hit me up. I love your comments. I read them all. So you stay amazing out there in the land of awesome, and we'll see you next time, okay? Okay, bye-bye now.